Since the recent slew of weight loss drugs hit the market, headlines have been ablaze with news of these apparent wonder drugs, with celebrities like Elon Musk talking about his experience with it, as well as numerous success stories posted online. But is taking these drugs a good idea? Should skinniness really be the goal? And are there any moral and ethical questions raised by the sale and use of these drugs? Well, maybe. But first, it's disclaimer time. I'm not a doctor, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, and all of that jazz. People have been trying to create weight loss drugs since the early 1900s. Early attempts include thyroid hormones, amphetamines, and even getting people to eat tapeworms, which then eat the calories for them. The long and short of it is that people have been trying to eat what they want and not face the consequences for over 100 years. And somewhat unsurprisingly, it hasn't always worked out for the best. But that doesn't mean that we should discount the idea of a skinny pill altogether. Or does it? Well, maybe. Because one of the most important things that's often missed when talking about weight loss drugs is that being thin does not mean that you are healthy. While being overweight or obese by itself isn't good for someone, due to the excess weight on the person's joints and muscles and the reduction in functional mobility, in many cases, weight loss problems function more as a symptom of other problems, and a sign that action may need to be taken. The underlying problem could be physical, like poor dietary choices, a sedentary lifestyle, or living in a food desert. Or they could be psychological in nature, like eating disorders, addiction, stress, or depression. Or it could be another issue entirely. But either way, obesity is a sign that something is happening, and one that is quite obvious to the person and to people around them. And this is where I begin to have problems with weight loss medication. Weight loss drugs do not resolve the underlying causes of obesity. Medicine cannot make an unhealthy diet healthier. Medicine cannot make a sedentary lifestyle less sedentary. Weight loss medication covers up the symptoms of a real problem, making it easier to miss or even to just ignore. Let's also not kid ourselves. For a huge amount of people, health isn't the only reason they're losing weight. They're also doing it because they want to look more attractive. We can argue about the merits of this approach, but it's just the truth. And while I don't think thinness is the best reason to lose weight, it is another reason why people may want to lose weight on top of the health benefits. And when you remove one of the primary benefits of living healthily by making weight loss drugs easily available, you discourage people from taking action, even when doing so would be the best thing they could do for their health. Another incredibly important aspect of any medication is its side effects. In this case, I don't want to discuss the side effects of a specific weight loss drug, because the medicines we use could change over time. Instead, I want to talk about side effects in general. I think that people put too much faith in medical research. I realise that that's a bold claim, but please hear me out. When we see that a drug has been approved by an organisation like the FDA, we assume that it means that they understand the drug fully, all of the positive and negative effects it can have on the body, and the interactions it can have with other drugs. But that isn't true, at least not completely, and it's not their fault. They are doing the best they can, but they aren't gods. It is incredibly difficult to understand all of the interactions between the cells, hormones, chemicals, and bacteria in our bodies. One of the most enlightening things about reading more medical literature over the last few years is realizing that the answer to so many of the questions I have about the human body is, we don't know. It really is hard to comprehend just how much we don't know about how the body works. But for the sake of keeping this video short, let's just say it's a hell of a lot. And it's not because researchers are doing a bad job. It's because the body is so bloody complicated. So when you take the already complicated human body, add in different environmental and lifestyle factors, genetic differences, and then of course add medications to that equation, the number of variables becomes so huge that it is extremely difficult to gauge what the outcome will be. We see this often in the way that different people react to medication in different ways, experiencing different side effects or sometimes none at all. And this becomes even more difficult when people are taking 2 or 3 or even more drugs at the same time. And this becomes even more complicated when you add in the element of time, with different results when you take a drug for a month, a year, 10 years, or even the whole of your life. I hope I'm managing to get across just how difficult it is to answer the seemingly simple question, is this drug safe? So with that said, should we stop using medication? No, of course not. That would be stupid. Medicine has saved and improved countless lives, but I do think that a sensible rule is that medication should be avoided unless you and your doctor deem it to be necessary. And I think that it can be argued that for the majority of people, weight loss medication is not necessary, especially when a much better understood alternative already exists that involves no medication and aligns with our natural biology. While we're on the topic of a solution that already exists, I think it's a good time to talk about the way that drug companies and the media are framing the use of weight loss drugs. They often say things like, "This is a game changer," "This miracle weight loss drug," or "The end of obesity." But the thing that is rarely brought up is that you only have to go back one human lifetime to be in an age where obesity was hardly a problem. This is not a 1,000-year-old conundrum finally solved by the miracles of modern medicine. This is a modern problem with an old solution, one that doesn't involve copious amounts of medication. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that it's an easy one to solve. The question, what is a healthy diet, is a topic of much debate, and how we manage the growing obesity problem is even more difficult. While medication may be part of the solution, I find it extremely worrying that the general trend is more people taking more medication just to maintain a baseline of health, especially when there are huge incentives for pharmaceutical companies to get you taking their medicine every single month. Pharmaceutical companies are a business, and as a general rule, the goal of a business is to earn money. Yes, modern medicine has doubtless saved millions of lives, but that doesn't mean that we should assume that a huge medical corporation always has your best interests at heart. And while I hope that we can agree at this point that where possible a healthy diet and lifestyle are better for you than medication, that doesn't mean that they are more valuable. From a business perspective, the more valuable something is, the more you can sell it for. And the value of something comes down to what the product does for you, plus how much time and effort it can save you. That's why a meal at a restaurant is more valuable than the ingredients for a meal, because someone else is doing the cooking, cleaning, and providing a comfortable space for you to sit in, as well as probably making something nicer than you would have at home. It's why a gardener costs more than a book on gardening. One does it for you, and the other only gives you the information to do it yourself. And it's why liposuction costs more than a diet and exercise plan, because with liposuction, you can have your fat sucked out in a day, but a diet and exercise plan could take you months or even years of effort to get you where you want to be. In many ways, weight loss medication is even more valuable than liposuction, because while it takes longer to see results, it takes significantly less time and effort on the part of the customer. Liposuction requires you to go to a clinic, have actual surgery, and then experience pain and discomfort for at least a few days. Weight loss drugs, at least in their current form, only require that you take one injection once a week. And that's all. In fact, it's even better for pharmaceutical companies because it's designed for long-term use. It's designed for you to use every week for a long time, if not indefinitely. And there is nothing that a huge corporation loves more than a subscription model. This isn't meant to be some anti-capitalist rant. I'm not trying to claim that any time money is charged for something that the company is trying to screw you over. Instead, I just want to point out that due to the incentives to create and sell a product like this, they may be promoting this as the new miracle drug, when in reality, it's probably not the right choice for a lot of people, especially considering the rather sordid history of pharmaceutical companies overemphasizing the positives of a certain medication while lying about the risks. Of course, I'm not saying that's what's happening this time. How would I know? But in the end, the thing to remember is that Big Pharma really doesn't care about you. It cares about your money. And with that slightly depressing thought, this video comes to an end. But if you want to hear about one of the ways that I stay healthy without much effort at all, then you might want to give this video a try.